Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining today's webinar, Harness the Power of Your SAP Data with SAP PowerConnect for Devo. We're so happy you're here. At the bottom of your screen, there are multiple engagement tools that you can use throughout, including a Q&A chat and a request a demo widget. All of the engagement tools and windows are resizable and movable, so feel free to adjust them in a way that works best for you. You can expand your slide area and maximize it to full screen by clicking on the arrows in the top right corner. If you have any questions or technical issues during the webcast, you can submit them through the Q&A engagement tool, and our team will do our best to address them. Attendees will not be able to verbally ask questions or raise issues, so the Q&A chat is the best way. You can also find answers to some common technical issues in the Help tool at the bottom of your screen. We will be doing a Q&A session at the end of this presentation, but if a fuller answer is required or we run out of time and don't get to your question, we will definitely follow up with you as we capture all the question data and the people who asked them. This webinar is also being recorded, and you will receive a follow-up email along with the recording and any other additional materials that we go over. You can access this recording via the link you used to join the webinar today. Thank you very much, and now I will pass it off to our presenters.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Brian Bates. I'm a solutions architect here at Rhondos. I'll go ahead and kick things off for us today. You know, without fail, for the businesses that run SAP, SAP runs the business. With enterprise solutions to handle the toughest business process challenges in finance, manufacturing, aerospace, utilities, government, telecom, retail, and more, SAP serves as the technology backbone for 94% of the world's 500 largest companies. And their 437,000 customers produce nearly 90% of total global commerce. That's $46 trillion reported in SAP applications. There isn't another company on the planet that dominates their space quite like SAP does. And that's a result of being very, very good. This is the SAP interface. It's confusing, technical, has restricted access, and there are no APIs for user response time. We call it a black box because that's what our customers call it. It is a highly restricted environment with practices that reinforce data silos. It doesn't break them down. The SAP landscape has very limited visualization capabilities, and native data solutions do not allow the users to customize the look and feel. On the other hand, SAP's primary focus, as it should be, is on process execution, not monitoring, mining, or observability. For that reason, SAP customers often rely heavily on their systems integrator to either A, deliver a multi-year monitoring project to cobble together a hodgepodge of monitoring tools, or B, manually sift through and flip between incredibly complex data sets to reactively identify the root cause of critical events. When the typical SAP outage costs upwards of $500,000 per hour and impacts everyone in the organization, from end customers all the way up to the CEO, finding that needle in a haystack of tools, teams, and disparate data sets can get, well, agonizing. We think about this data differently. We want to empower the organizations and stay agile to the challenges known today and how they will evolve in the future. PowerConnect will give you visualizations and the power to create alerting systems that are intuitive. A quick overview of who Rhondos is for those of you who don't know us. We were founded by a veteran software company founder who has operated in the SAP and big data space for over 30 years. Since our inception in 2018, we've built a team of experts uniquely cross-trained in SAP and Devo. We offer 24/7 P1 support for the PowerConnect software and offer certified implementation services. We hire only the best technologists from both SAP and big data ecosystems, and then cross-certify on technologies, making a very niche and valuable workforce that remains in high demand. In fact, just last year, we hosted one of our talent advancement retreats where a team of 12, including 5 of our newly hired consultants, joined our principal engineers for the Rhondos SAP PowerConnect Bootcamp. This is a 5-day course of a highly rigorous mix of lecture and hands-on labs bringing the two worlds of SAP and big data platforms together with Rhondos. You see that square certified PowerConnect consultant logo between SAP and Devo? This is a credential that we've achieved accreditation through Credly and are the only company in the world to hold the PowerConnect technology consultants to this standard. Listed on the right are just a few customers who run our software in production environments. In some cases, that means hundreds of SAP instances. We focus on three core values at Rhondos. Every customer is referenceable, positive reciprocity with our partners and affiliates, and doing the right thing, always. Over the decades, monitoring solutions for SAP performance, security, and business analytics have focused on a siloed approach. Each team within the organization has spent considerable time and effort procuring the best of breed solutions for infrastructure, databases, business processes, web services, applications, networking, and security. But these point solutions solve only that, the single silo they are targeting. Even though each team within the organization has been outfitted with the best, the company still relies on a war room type of activity to bring everyone together to sort out the issue. In today's highly competitive world for qualified talent, experts who bring the MTTR into acceptable ranges can be especially hard to find and retain. Yet there are universal challenges in monitoring SAP. It really doesn't matter how large your landscape is, or how many systems you've deployed, or where you're at in your cloud journey. SAP data is mission critical and highly complex. Multiple integrations and custom applications often demand custom solutions within SAP, which are clunky or difficult to use. And they're probably only focused on the specific problem or application targeted. Root cause analysis is especially tricky. What we see is missed alerts due to alert fatigue, or these solutions simply taking too long to execute those notifications. And then once alerted, the analysis is sidetracked because the T-code dialogue and response time data needed to find the smoking gun, it's either missing or it was automatically aggregated to the point the anomaly can no longer be found. And what if a table lock brings your investigation to a halt? What then? What happens when you rely on SAP performance to troubleshoot SAP performance? To summarize, failure modes are difficult to define, and the mean time to resolution is so far off the charts, it's probably being ignored until the outages occurred. That brings us to the power of the Devo platform. I'd like to introduce Ash Patel, Senior Director of Technology Alliances, who's going to talk to you about Devo. Ash, I hand it to you.
Thank you, Brian. I was really excited to bring this joint solution between Devo and PowerConnect to our mutual customers and our new customers. When I came to Devo, one of the reasons why I came to Devo was just, I looked at the platform and its capabilities, and I just saw a world of possibilities. Devo is built to solve today and tomorrow's data challenges. It's no surprise to everyone out there that the amount of data being generated is exploding. And there are more users requiring more searches and more automation to actually make sense and get value out of this data. One of the inherent challenges of legacy enterprise solutions was they were not able to cope with these demands. We find customers who previously were just throwing money at hardware and resources and consultants trying to tweak and optimize their existing deployments, when what they were really doing was just putting temporary band-aids and covering up the real problems, because the core architecture of these platforms was just not built to sustain and to scale. Perhaps some of you on the call today have been facing these same challenges. This is by no means an easy problem to solve, and was really one of the reasons why Devo chose to take a couple of unique approaches when building our architecture. And the result is a flexible, highly performant, and scalable with a lower TCO than most of the market out there with what we like to call our no compromise architecture. So let's take a moment and drill into that. I'll keep it brief because I suspect most people here came to hear more about SAP than they did about Devo. So I will try to run through these slides relatively quickly and then hand it off to back to Brian. But the biggest difference that I first observed with Devo was the cloud native SaaS architecture. Devo was built from the ground up in the cloud. No one has ever had to install Devo. It's no longer necessary to have specific Devo admins whose job it is to manage infrastructure, look at things like replication factor or manage indexes. Devo abstracts all of this from the user so they can spend their time on really real value adding activities, which is asking questions of their log data. Whether you are starting off at tens of gigs or scaling up to terabytes, Devo gives you the ability to scale with zero re-architecting required. We have many customers in the retail industry who, as we all are aware, during the holiday season, routinely experience bursts of 10x. We are acutely aware of these situations and have built a platform from the ground up which can scale up and down as your organization requires. Now, the traditional nature of log management solutions was to have different tiers of storage. You may keep hot storage for a week and then have to have some either manual process to roll that data off to varying data tiers. One of the biggest differentiators with Devo is that all of the data is hot for a default of 400 days. And this gives users the ability to seamlessly analyze real-time data streams for over a year's worth of data, a year's worth of time. And Devo's unique micro-indexing technology and compression means that we can query petabytes worth of data in, we say a flash here, but it may take us a minute, but if you are using many other solutions out there, it could very easily run into the tens to 30 even hours of minutes, all while keeping our storage to a minimum. And we were really built from the ground up for today's modern analytics workloads. Most of our customers are probably using us for security and performance management. But what this really requires is a unique approach where you can handle simultaneous querying and the caching of those results into the thousands. You're going to have multiple users who may be looking at the same data in different types of ways. And in those scenarios, it's not optimal to keep reading that data continuously from disk for every single search. So all of this stuff, to do with the caching of the results and the availability, to various users across the domain, all of that, again, is built natively into the Devo platform. So no one from outside the organization is ever going to have to manage any of that. And you can do this, in multiple different ways. You can either do it directly through our web interface. You can access custom dashboards and apps on the Devo platform. Or if you're a more advanced user and you prefer to do everything yourself from the command line, you can utilize that as well. And then lastly here is the ability to richly visualize your analytics with an intuitive kind of a UI system which enables you to drag and drop and modify widgets. It's really easy to kind of create the content or to curate the content as you see fit. Devo enables all users of varying skill levels. Sometimes you might be an architect level, sometimes you might be an admin level, sometimes you might be just a user level to make fast and informed decisions of related to their data. And with that, hopefully I've given everybody who is new to Devo a pretty good primer. Brian, I will hand it back over to you to continue.
Thank you so much, Ash. Typically, we see 5 general pillars of motivation for a customer to analyze their SAP environments with Devo. The autonomous SOC can only work as well as the data available. Securing your SAP landscape as a part of your overall security posture requires real-time access to SAP security data. PowerConnect extracts login behavior information, location, and transaction information, and can all be correlated with the Devo platform to alert on indicators of compromise much faster and much easier. Compliance rules and audits are here to help, but can catch an organization by surprise, especially when key individual contributors move on to new roles, leaving a significant gap in tribal knowledge. Data within Devo is retained as long as you need for your use case with a standard of 400 days of hot storage. SM20 audit log recording and search are critical components, as well as user behavior and dialogue inspection, all upfitting the audit team with SAP-specific knowledge in real time. Performance is always ignored until the user base feels that delay in service, yet some users are never satisfied with the level of performance you deliver to them. Put the data behind the feelings and demonstrate a healthy, performant environment. The most powerful part of this story, in my opinion, is the end-to-end business process monitoring and validation. Devo is naturally excellent at cloud-native analysis and the only platform that's as agile as your complex business processes. With open and extensible visualizations that represent your entire order-to-cash flow, we can map your process and automate reporting on the metrics that matter. Finally, every migration needs to have a baseline information to gauge before and after. There's no better way to articulate an improvement in systems post-migrations than with the data-driven chart that demonstrates it. In a world where migrations take years, historical and robust tracking is critical to managing the deployment and meeting stakeholder expectations. So let's talk about the return on investment real fast. Greatly reduce SAP monitoring costs by accelerating the time to alert on the actual problem. Optimize the search time on large, complex data sets, and ensure compliance with over a year of that hot storage. SAP security postures rely on fast correlation to notable events and the ability to recursively search through historical records of events to see how that threat was traversing the network. Slash the MTTR and root cause analysis times by bringing multiple data silos into a platform to correlate events. Teams then speak the same data language instead of pointing fingers. And improve alerting and visibility with customizable visualizations, empowering your team to create the center of excellence in the way that makes sense for the business. So let's talk about how we achieve this with SAP PowerConnect for Devo. Quick history here, about 10 years ago, a large energy and utilities company in Australia enlisted the help of Brave New World to solve a problem. Outages that would last several days, seemingly random interval, would hamstring the SAP basis team. They were at a loss because the system used to monitor the health of that system would lock up as well. You see, a malformed SQL query was locking up a table, accessing a resource, and waiting on another SQL query, which caused a deadlock. And as these queues grew, the system was running out of resources, and the basis team was unable to perform their investigations. Only a restart on the servers would correct the issue and bring the system back into a stable state. Like I said, this would happen at a seemingly random interval. Sometimes the data to triage was not even available after the restart. The consultants at Brave New World suggested extracting the performance data and sending to another analytics tool. PowerConnect was born with those first few lines of ABAP code. The solution was novel, extracting performance data in near real time and shipping it to a big data platform for monitoring and alerting and analysis. And now it is an SAP certified solution. PowerConnect continues development with Brave New World, now a Software One company, and the technology goes to market through distributors like Rhondos. We are excited to bring solutions in this space to the Devo platform and accelerate cloud-native solutions for big business. Rhondos and Devo entered a strategic partnership, to bring this solution to the fastest cloud-native security logging platform on the market. Rhondos PowerConnect certified implementation services, we're accredited by SAP, and we're close partners with cloud providers such as AWS and Azure. We offer 24/7 support and continually invest in the technology with new feature packs every 3 months. PowerConnect is certified by SAP, and this originally took about 3 years to achieve. And why is this important? You don't violate your support agreement with SAP as a customer if you install certified agents. Clients will remain compliant with their SAP maintenance agreement when using PowerConnect. We also adhere to this compliance with each upgrade of SAP. Now I think we're going to a quick poll question. So, how many tools do you use currently to support your job on a daily basis? All right, moving on. So speaking of certifications, I really can't emphasize this part enough. PowerConnect is completely certified by SAP, and shown here are the certificates in S/4HANA, NetWeaver, Java, and NetWeaver ABAP S/4HANA Cloud. These are incredibly rigorous standards that demonstrate time and time again only well-architected solutions are allowed this credibility statement. It is a differentiator from the majority of our competitors and a proud slide to share with you today. Oftentimes, after this moment during our conversations with customers, they'll inquire as to the system resources that this monitoring and alerting tool requires. After all, we don't want to overly stress the environments we're tasked to keep online all the time. It's important to know that PowerConnect extracts and forwards data. We're not analyzing with SAP system resources. We're just running background batch jobs, which are prioritized below all other jobs. So in general, a fully loaded SAP system will have PowerConnect installed, configured, and activated. It doesn't move the needle on system resources. While the vast majority of installations sit at around 0.5% resource utilization, the most demanding instances reach about 1.5 to 2%. So rest assured, over half a decade of achieving certified performance should put your mind at ease. With the latest release, version 7, agent performance metrics and introspection are shipped as part of the data you can visualize and analyze, providing you with the details for agent health and resource utilization on those SAP systems. Now we're getting into the architectural conversation, so let me explain this slide in great detail for all of you basis managers out there in the audience. On the left-hand side, we have your SAP landscape represented with this blue rectangle. 3 layers are illustrated: the application layer above, the database layer below, and the NetWeaver layer, or your application server layer. PowerConnect is built to be installed upon on-premises systems or those hosted in the cloud. It will be installed on the NetWeaver layer on each production system, whether it be a Java stack or an ABAP stack. In some cases, we would install both in dual stack systems such as PI or process integration. It is here that PowerConnect has access to nearly every bit of information needed to drive your business further. As the transactions pass data to and from the database layer, PowerConnect intercepts and extracts the data elements that we want to monitor. If the data has no timestamp, we apply one, and this is a critical differentiator from our competition. Many data sources within the SAP instance, they're ephemeral in nature or they're recorded without timestamps. We extract at system time and record system time to maintain resolution on the events occurring. Once it is ready to send the data at the prescribed interval, PowerConnect rolls the elements up into a JSON formatted event, encrypts it, and then ships it over to Devo using TLS 1.3 or SSL. Devo receives the data and the cloud-native logging platform ingests the data now prepared for investigation, monitoring, and alerting. Visualizations are made easy in Devo with the use of active boards, and we're working with the latest framework for a turnkey app. So let me describe this one more time. PowerConnect is installed in your SAP system, either on-prem or in the cloud, and extracts data elements in near real time. RFCs, API calls, SU01 user data, all of your STAD data, and even IDOCs in full fidelity are captured when they occur and sent securely to Devo. Your investigation in the data is as it occurred in system time. The metrics and the telemetry, they are not summarized or aggregated unless you want that information represented that way through a dashboard, alert, or report. Another key differentiator from competitors is the simplicity of the technology and installation. Some other data monitoring or APM tools claim to have similar capabilities. However, for us, PowerConnect is what we use for all functions here. There are no other third-party applications that we install in parallel or require you to install beforehand. Some companies mix and match other developers' code in an attempt to achieve what we achieve in a single product. Using the standard Saint installation process for an ABAP system, installations of the typical SAR files, it takes between 20 and 30 minutes. And so it's a very low drama experience during which users are not interrupted, systems don't require a restart. A similar experience is also available for the Java installation. They use SCA files and they're installed using the native software update manager or SUM. I'll be honest with you, I've done this installation a number of times now, and the only surprise is the fact that it's actually done in less than 30 minutes. As long as the roles are provisioned with your security team, the SSL certificates are ready, endpoints are configured, the data begins flowing immediately to the Devo environment. The configuration out of the box is tuned for what we've seen as common baseline requirements, regardless of customer. So no, not everything is turned on, but about 80% of what you need is configured right from the beginning. This is a brief glimpse at the administration console. You probably won't spend too much time here after the initial setup because the background batch jobs are programmed to automatically restart if the check job fails. And you'll see that on an active board. With the latest release, data extractor indicator lights ship. Green means good, red means bad, no logs to read through or T-codes to remember. PowerConnect is programmed to include introspection data with the payload, so it's just another program you monitor within Devo, measuring performance and indicating data health. The PowerConnect admin console is where you enable and disable data extractors and set the collection intervals. Advanced and granular configuration options are available in the admin console. And this is where we begin to see some custom features or value with custom applications in unique environments. And this is served with the onboard table reader. You see, for customers who have spent a considerable amount of time building customizations that result in Z tables or Z tables, this tool, Ships, is able to read those tables directly from the software. So if you already have a list of fields you want to extract, we'll make sure your team knows how to configure this before we leave so the PowerConnect extractors mature with your SAP customizations. But we don't stop at the on-prem SAP systems. We also have the cloud technology to align with your cloud journey as an organization. Through a horizontally scalable architecture, PowerConnect Cloud pulls or accepts streaming inputs from the SAP Cloud Platform. Many organizations adopt a SaaS solution from SAP and are behind in logging the audit logs from SAP BTP. PowerConnect Cloud ensures all of this data is sent securely to your Devo platform. So the security posture includes cloud audit data. Because we use the API Business Hub, we have access to over 3,000 APIs across the portfolio of products offered by SAP. And this includes SuccessFactors, Concur, Ariba Fieldglass, CPI, API-M. You see them listed over there on the left as a sample. Now, as your organization migrates from on-prem process integration, for example, you can use PowerConnect Cloud and Devo in monitoring blue-green deployments, ensuring successful transitions to the cloud. In addition to the accessibility of SAP Cloud data, PowerConnect Cloud can apply transformations to data in flight. So this means masking sensitive data or using regex to replace names. So if you've ever struggled with making sense of tenant identities within your current logging platform, you're not alone. PowerConnect Cloud can apply human-readable tags or name replacements to ease the searchability on the data once it's loaded into the Devo platform. There are many flexible deployment options, so just let us know your plans and we can advise the best approach here. And again, it's going to ship that HTTPS over into Devo just like our on-prem solution. All right, before we get into some active boards, I want to talk about some customer success here. You see there was a problem with a durable goods manufacturer, and they needed full fidelity SM20 security and audit logs. But in addition, they needed this retention period of over 1 year to meet several compliance requirements. And so with Rhondos, PowerConnect, and Devo, the client was able to achieve a 68% reduction in time running queries. They were able to achieve a 90% reduction in their SAP data storage and over $100,000 per year in cost reduction. Rapidly improved their security visibility and their security posture across 97 SAP production systems. Only the SAP PowerConnect solution exceeded the client's requirements, and this was made possible with that Devo license, including those 400 days of hot data and the ability to retain data for years for compliance reasons, the scalability, logging at 40 plus terabytes per day, and the ability to consolidate data from across the enterprise, offering flexible real-time analytics with the ability to secure sensitive PII, and it can ingest all SAP data types. In addition to the SM20 audit logs, it includes SUIM, STAD statistical records, and over 250 more extractor types. And so that brings us to how we visualize SAP data within Devo Active Boards. Like I said, the total number of event types exceeds 250, and those event types have over 10,000 data elements. And these are all able to be extracted from SAP systems and visualized in Devo Active Boards. This can be a lot of data. All of the transaction performance statistics, database call performance, interface request and response details, message details, and user and system behavior security data. Wrangling all of that data requires a powerful and flexible tool. And here you can see all of the data available across multiple SAP systems within the landscape, which technology stacks are reporting, and which servers are included. Dev, test, QA, pre-prod, and production tiers can all be viewed and analyzed through a platform built for scale like Devo, allowing you to quickly click into the data you are looking for. The interface is intuitive and simple to learn. Everything is a low no-code experience with SQL-like queries, which you have complete access to for changing, modifying, or up-leveling your current monitoring strategy. So typically in SAP, an analyst will have to run individual queries for each answer they seek. There are some native tooling which offers dashboards. Usually they're not customizable. This is a Devo Active Board driven by SAP PowerConnect security data. In my opinion, the most compelling feature at first glance is the ability for this conditional formatting. you're only drawn to what needs to be addressed immediately. And as you see the whole dashboard, you'll notice there are 14 individual reports on this single active board. And these reports are running automatically, tied to alerts. You actually don't need to log in to the dashboard to be alerted on a threshold or condition breach. But then upon login, when you get that alert, you get to decide how much historical context you want with the time picker. Again, over a year of hot storage comes with Devo, so with one click, this heads-up security display can turn into a compliance summary report from the last year. Some of the specific use cases in this dashboard include alerting on password policy monitoring. In this case, the password policy is not set, but beyond that, even if we were to set a password policy, the complexity requirements and parameters are not enforced to the upper, lowercase, and special character minimums. So we're saving the team multiple engagements to set this up correctly. And also in the upper right side, you can see this orange indicator, the orange 0, and it's displaying that no SSL certificates are expired yet, but this may need to be addressed soon. So if we double click into the SOC type use cases, our security essentials includes active monitoring for privileged account abuse. Many companies will outsource their technical maintenance work, and in some cases, elevated privileges are required to perform certain actions. Or in a bad case scenario, there is a major outage where firefighter access needs to be used to bypass all the security in order to fix the issues ASAP. This automated dashboard actively monitors users who are abusing those privileged accounts or not following company policies. We also take it one step further and monitor the execution of sensitive transactions. By extracting the SAP dialog and transaction details in high fidelity, we can report on who is inappropriately using highly sensitive transactions. And what I mean by that is we don't want a warehouse manager making changes to HR payrolls or the credit limits of a logistics company, right? We can also visualize and report on threat indicators, such as land speed records, the data exfiltration metrics, or brute force attempts by monitoring the login behavior of all users in the system. And that means all of the human users and the machine users. So out of the box is a great starting point, and that's what we've been talking about so far. But we know SAP PowerConnect will enable your team with more high-value, high-fidelity data. Typically, organizations are going to hover somewhere between exposed and vulnerable, where teams are performing these manual reports. They're often using Excel workbooks to collect point-in-time indicators, and they're reporting on a monthly or quarterly basis. Some folks out there are tracking historical SAP audit log data over time with those SM20 reports. Those can be really difficult to wrangle because the format that's natively output by the NetWeaver layer is challenging to parse through. And so our commitment is with using SAP PowerConnect and Devo, we can get your organization from a high-risk state to a secure one with just a 2-week quick start. Getting fortified, enabling real-time user activity alerts and reports in a centralized data platform. Compile all the details of user behavior. But as you're thinking about where to go from here, we have this maturity model to guide the progression to that autonomous SOC. Integrate data silos across the Security Operations Center with Devo SecOps, and eventually become orchestrated with out-of-the-box APIs for leading security orchestration, automation, and response solutions. Before we get into questions, I want to take a few slides and talk about Rhondos professional services and support. There are 3 categories of professional services at Rhondos that we deliver: Quick Starts, Custom SOWs, and Rhondos On Demand. Our Quick Start program, like I've mentioned before, is exactly that, a repeatable set of activities that stands PowerConnect and the out-of-the-box functionalities up in a customer environment over a 2-week period. The Quick Start program is an 88-hour professional services engagement. 8 of those up front are entirely flexible. It includes project management time, assistance through the installation process, coordination, other admin activities like getting the right access to the right people, and setting up the license keys. We make sure that data is extracted and sent to Devo. Then we land a consultant for the remaining 80 hours to be delivered consecutively with the customer. This is where we work with the end user of PowerConnect, and that's typically the basis team. We stand up the out-of-the-box functionality. We go through multiple workshops and training sessions with the customer. A quick start is always the first professional services engagement we have with the customer. It sets the foundation of how each customer will use Devo to view their SAP data. Once we have laid that foundation, this is where the fun starts. We have a better understanding of how this solution can positively affect each organization, and those custom use cases start to come forward. We help the customer then implement those custom use cases through professional services, and typically that's a custom SOW at varying suggested length of time. It's going to depend on each environment and each customer. Every SAP system is individually unique. Our Rhondos On Demand program is a premium service offering that gives flexibility to how customers work with us. As opposed to needing to build out a custom SOW for each time, each need or each ask that someone has, we're able to work with them in an on-demand capacity. Typically a bucket of 10 to 40 hours per month, where a customer has a Rhondos consultant on retainer to assist them with all things PowerConnect and or Devo. All of our support consultants are certified PowerConnect consultants and accredited through Credly. Our service is managed through our collection of Atlassian products to manage communication and response time to the customer. This is our premium 24/7 enterprise support model specifically for all Rhondos PowerConnect customers. The service level agreement shown here on the right, and it's publicly available on our website. You can contact support through emailing support@rhondos.com or going directly to our support portal. So how do we get started with harnessing the power of your SAP data? You can request a demo of SAP PowerConnect for Devo following the webinar, or you can reach out to your Devo or Rhondos sales representative to get started. All right, thank you so much. This is the end slide here. Let's see if we have any questions from the audience. All right, looks like we have a question here for my side. Ash, can this connector pull HANA logs? Great question, great question. Yes, it can. So there's a collection of scripts that can be run similar to your HANA cockpit, and those are loaded on board the ABAP agent so that when you're running, for instance, S4 on top of HANA, you can run those scripts, pull that performance data, the logs, downtime reports, all of the database metrics directly by running those scripts, and that is shipped from that ABAP agent directly into Devo. Great question there. There's also a replication, database replication application stack, SLT, which is an ABAP technology. We can install PowerConnect on top of that one too. Good question. How is the product licensed? Okay, so PowerConnect software is licensed based on the production system. And which production system? Is it a transactional system like ECC or S4, or is it a support system like PI or PO, or if it's a technical system like Solution Manager? It's going to depend on the tier, but the license is only for the production instance. So each license includes the agent to be installed on your dev, test, QA, pre-prod. All of those pre-production or non-production environments come with that PowerConnect license. And then being licensed by the system means it's not licensed by a total data volume or data ingest. We talked today about 250 plus, it's actually closer to 300 extractors currently available. All of those extractors ship with each license. You're not governed based on that. And then the admin console within PowerConnect on SAP UI, right? So when you log into your SAP system, open up the PowerConnect program, view the admin console, it'll actually tell you exactly how much data that you're extracting and forwarding on. Yeah, good question there. Is Devo available without PowerConnect? Of course, right? Of course. Two separate products here. PowerConnect is the software agent which lives within your SAP system, going to extract SAP data and forward it onto the Devo platform. You can absolutely have Devo independent of PowerConnect. It is a platform, cloud-native logging solution that can ingest any kind of data. All right, let's see what else we have here. Can Devo capture data from third-party integrated SAP virus scan logs? It's kind of like the previous question there. Yes, Devo can ingest all kinds of data, including threat intelligence feeds. So Devo SecOps, and maybe Ash, you could talk a little bit about some of the security operations there. But yes, Devo as a security platform as well can ingest threat intelligence, all of those feeds, and it doesn't matter where they're coming from.
Yeah, I'll just add one thing to that. If the scanning is being done by one of the popular commercial enterprise scanners, such as Tenable or Qualys or something from Rapid7, we have coverage of all of those. If it's some other smaller proprietary SAP type scanning system that I haven't heard of, then we probably still can. We just might need to do a little bit of custom work in order to accommodate. But if it's any of the major commercial scanners out there, chances are it's already covered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like we have a question here. How does it compare or complement Solution Manager, Solman? Yeah, great question. Access to the data, okay? So transaction data, time stamping that transaction in near real time, the ability to customize your visualizations, fine-tune your alerts, overlay metrics, traces, logs, converting transaction details into logs. It's comprehensively more performant and more comprehensive. I said that word twice, but more comprehensive than Solution Manager. In fact, some of our clients will actually use PowerConnect to monitor the health of that Solution Manager stack itself. Faster response time to alerts. We've seen in the past, because Solution Manager is built into the SAP landscape, relying on databases with similar architecture. The response time of those alerts can be long and drawn out. We've seen up to 40 minutes of an improved response time to failure modes, comparing a PowerConnect solution directly with Solution Manager. The list goes on and on and on. So love to follow up with that conversation. Let's see. Yeah, here's another question. Most of the SAP connectors like GRC can generally extract the same type of data and bring it over for reporting, trying to figure out what is the differentiation. Yeah, most of the information can be available in GRC and others, but you see Devo is different because it's time-based events. So analyzing events over time, and again, statistical awareness of the transactions, how events are changing over time, how those transactions are recording events without timestamps. Getting this into a time series type of an analysis gives you the ability to monitor the health or the security of the environment over time, rather than, is it good or is it bad, simple indicators like that. Let's see, what else do we have here? Is support 24/7? Yes, the support model is 24/7. Again, service level agreements available publicly on our website. Happy to have a conversation. We staff at 24/7. Yes, very true. All right. Sounds good.
All right, well, thank you very much to everybody who joined us for this webinar today, as well as our wonderful presenters, Ash and Brian. Thank you so much. Some really interesting data that was presented. As I mentioned at the top of the webcast, we will be sending a recording of this over so that you can take a deeper look. And as we mentioned before, please feel free to get in touch with your Devo and or Rhondos salesperson to discuss further and request a demo. And thank you very much, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.